I'm Helen, Bibby, and I'm here on this moorland, which is really important for its juniper heath. I work with SEC Consulting as Conservation Advisor in Argyll. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about juniper, why it's important in our Scottish habitats, and maybe what you can do to look after it a little bit and make sure it thrives in the future.
Juniper is a bush that grows in colonies on a variety of habitats, including moorland, coastal heath, and calcium-rich soils. It can be of two subspecies: prostrate, which grows in a low, sprawling manner, often on heath habitats, or upright, which is taller, up to 5 metres, and more likely to be found in open birch and pine woodland. It's a kind of a spiny bush, the blue-green leaves forming needles. Juniper grows as separate male and female bushes. This is known as dioecious. On female bushes, the green flowers ripen to blackish-blue berries. Juniper is a UK Biodiversity Action Plan priority species. It is widespread in Scotland, but nowhere is it common. It is, however, one of the key woodland species identified for action under the Scottish Forestry Strategy 2006. It has been declining throughout the UK, both in terms of range and abundance, and Scotland now supports approximately 80% of the UK population. Threats to juniper include overgrazing, which fragments the populations. Young plants are among the favourite food of deer, sheep and rabbits, so they are not growing as much as they should be. Juniper has been struggling because many of the plants alive today are over a century old and therefore produce fewer seeds. If populations of juniper get too fragmented, male and female bushes won't be close enough to each other for good pollination, and therefore seeding becomes rare. A healthy population of juniper also supports many other species, insects, fungi, and lichens, many of which are specific to juniper, and are themselves at risk from declines. Juniper provides shelter and food for larger animals, and the berries are an important food for wildlife, but also used to flavour gin, which is a good reason to look after it, in my opinion. Overgrazing is a problem for juniper, so the ideal management is light grazing. Make sure you take into account the effect of deer and rabbits as well as livestock. Holes can sometimes be a problem for very young plants. Some grazing helps prevent shading of the plants by removing rough grasses and competing vegetation, and the juniper doesn't get browsed as it's not the preferred food plant. Because juniper has separate male and female bushes, they cannot produce viable seed if the bushes become too isolated, and therefore a good mix is required. Many juniper areas across Scotland occur in populations of less than 10 plants. A viable population should contain more than 50 plants in scattered stands less than 500 metres apart. Juniper doesn't like waterlogging, especially during the winter when long-term waterlogging can kill plants. Well-drained soils are best if you're trying to expand your juniper. In summary, overgrazing is the biggest threat to juniper. Many different grazing animals will graze juniper a little, so take them all into account when assessing grazing levels. Don't allow populations to become fragmented. A viable population should contain more than 50 plants in scattered stands less than 500 metres apart. More information on national priority species and looking after juniper can be found on the Farming Advisory Service website.